I'll give you a few highlights. He was born in 1945 into a farming family. Was the first of 5 children to graduate high school as the valedictorian. Earned a bachelor's degree from Baylor in 1968. A Juris Doctorate degree from Baylor Law in 1972. 10th Court of Appeals as a clerk and janitor. He paid his way through school. After spending time as a criminal prosecutor, district attorney, and lawyer, he finally, in March 2004, Justice Reyna was elected to a 6-year term by the Governor, Rick Perry. I know that's it. So, if you would, retired Justice Felipe Reyna.
Let me see if I can sit down and. Oh, by the way, I do have a hat, but I didn't bring it. Going to be 71 years of age next coming July. So, is this working? Or?
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. That's the kind of response I like to hear. Let me introduce some folks that are here. First of all, the sheriff. Where's the sheriff? Parnell McNamara, you sheriff. And I believe he's got his wife and who else do you have over there? You want to introduce them? There you go. The other person I want to introduce is your district attorney. Where's Abel? Abel Reyna, your district attorney. I don't know what they were scared I was going to do, but they bring the DA and the sheriff to keep an eye on me. And I don't even have a concealed weapon permit. You know, I just. Don't have a weapon, don't have a hat, I don't know what. This evening, first of all, I pray that God will lead me, guide me, and direct me in this presentation. And I also pray the youth, that when they, oh my God, God is talking to us already. The youth, I hope that when the youth hear my story, they'll go home and say, Mom, Dad, if Judge Reyna can make it, I can make it too. During the 40-something years that I was active before I retired, I have held many titles. Mr. District Attorney, Mr. DA, and then later it became Justice Reyna. Justice Reyna, Judge Reyna, Your Honor. Then after I retired, then my son Abel gets elected district attorney. After that, oh yeah, you're Abel's dad, so I'm just Abel's dad. And I can assure you that of all the titles that I've held in the last 40-something years, the title I'm most proud of is your dad. You're Abel's dad. Okay. I thought, talk to you about the power of prayer and perseverance in my life, about the strength that God gives us when we let Him lead our lives. Because Jeremiah 29, verse 11 through 13 tells us, For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. There are plans for good and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. In those days when you pray, I will listen. You will find me when you seek me, if you look for me in earnest. Jeremiah 29:11 through 13. What I thought I'd do, with your permission this evening, tell you a few things, occurrences that occurred in my life that shaped my life and my belief in God and Jesus Christ. First of all, when I started the first grade in Alamo, Hidalgo County, Texas, in the Valley, I didn't speak a single word English. And you know, back then, we didn't have ESL and bilingual education, all these other programs that the federal government feels compelled, spending billions of our tax dollars to teach the children of legal and illegal aliens to speak the English language. Back then, the principal just called my daddy in the office. Daddy thought I was in trouble, but anyway, they get him in there and says, Mr. Reyna, you take Felipe back home and don't bring him back until we can communicate with him, until he learns English. The first guardian angel that appeared in my life was the daughter of the man my daddy worked for. He worked in a big citrus growth there in the valley. And he had a daughter who was a sophomore in high school, and she was taking Spanish in high school. So my daddy's boss said, don't worry, Hetman, we're going to take care of this matter. I'll get my daughter to teach him English if he will teach my daughter in Spanish. So I still remember like it was yesterday. Every evening about 4:15, when this young lady would get off the bus, she would go to the little hatch where we live, bring me to their home, and for about an hour or 2 hours every day, Monday through Friday, we would teach each other the different languages. And you know, even though I flunked the first grade, I had to go back a year later. 12 years later, I was able to graduate as valedictorian of a high school class in Moody, Texas, just down the road a piece. The second thing I want to tell you about, second story, happened when I was in the third grade. By the end, I'm very fluent in English, reading, writing, and speaking it. But unfortunately, one morning, caught me and two of my buddies in the back of the classroom talking. I wasn't Betty and I were talking Spanish. Well, we're taken to the principal's office and got a royal spanking. Any of you remember those wooden baseball bats that were taken to the shop and shaved down to about ½ an inch and then holes drilled in it? Oh man, I like it. You talking about branding. That would put some freckles on your behind. But anyway, that wasn't enough. Then the principal summons the janitor, who, by the way, spoke very little English, orders the janitor to take us to the little boy's bathroom and wash our mouth with soap and water. I still remember the brand of the soap, Palmolive. And that's why, folks, you will not find any Palmolive products in the Reyna household. But anyway, I was humiliated, I was angered, confused. I got punished for speaking my native tongue, and I couldn't wait to get home and tell my daddy the injustice that had been committed upon me. Well, I was wrong. After I told my daddy that evening after supper what happened, I got that look. And I knew the next thing after that look would be a whipping. Taking me into the bedroom, got his belt off, and gave me a spanking. Years later, after I became district attorney, my father was the janitor of McLean County Courthouse, and I was the district attorney. He would start work at 3 in the afternoon until 11 at night. And every afternoon, about 2:30, he would always come into the DA's office to have a cup of coffee. And one day I said, Dad, remember that incident back when I was in the 3rd grade? I got punished in school. And then I come home and I got punished again. I said, Dad, seems like to me that's double jeopardy. I got punished twice for one crime. And he said, no, son, you got punished in school for speaking Spanish. I'll punish you because you disobeyed your teachers not to speak Spanish. So there you have it. I got no relief from my daddy. The other story I want to tell you that will allow you to understand many of my opinions that I hold. By the end, this is the 3rd grade. 10th grade, sophomore in high school, Moody High School. Me and my 2 brothers and 2 sisters grew up very, very poor. We had to pull and shop cotton in the hot cotton fields of Moody, Texas. Oh, by the way, I always tell people, you haven't met Jesus Christ until you pull cotton in 100-degree weather. But anyway, many times my parents didn't have quarter to eat in the cafeteria back then was 1 quarter, 25 cents. So he would take 5 quarters to feed me and my 2 brothers and sisters. Coach Conover from Moody High School, he's deceased now, many years ago, out of his own pocket on special days, on Fridays especially, he would take 5 quarters out of his pocket, give them to me and say, here, Felipe, you and your brothers and sisters can come eat with us in the cafeteria instead of going to study hall. You know, you'll remember, it was the school year 62, 63. You'll remember the Great Society or the Good Society. So one afternoon, Coach Conover summons me to his office, and he opened the right-hand side drawer and pulled a tab. It was about half, and it was glued on top. It was pad to pass out. He took one sheet of paper from the top of the tab and said, here, Felipe, you take this home, and you get your daddy to sign right here, and on the next line, you get him to write his Social Security number, and you bring this back to me, and you and your brothers and sisters can eat for free every day, for free. You know, back then, 10th grader, I said, man, this is a great deal. I couldn't wait to get home and tell my daddy about this wonderful program that we now have. Once again, I was wrong. After dinner, because back then, the whole family would sit down together. Not this come and go buffet thing that we have nowadays. After dinner, I showed the little piece of paper to Daddy and said, Dad, look at here. Coach Conover says all you have to do is sign right here, put your Social Security number on the next line, and then I take this back to Coach Conover, and we'll get to eat for free every day at the cafeteria. Once again, I got that look. He took the piece of paper, wore it up, threw it in the trash can, and says, Felipe, you go tell Coach Conover I really appreciate his act of kindness, but you tell the coach that nobody, not even the federal government, is going to help Reyna feed his family. Look at us today. Free this, free that, free college, free, you know. And when I hear those commercials from the President of Canada's free college, I'm sitting here, wait a minute. I paid for my college. What are we going to? But anyway, graduated 1964. And my only hope of getting a college education was that I applied for congressional appointment to the United States Naval Academy. I wanted to be the best pilot the Navy had ever seen. I received the principal appointment that year to the United States Naval Academy. Spent about 3 days. What's that air base between Dallas and Fort Worth? Granbury, whatever. Naval base there. Taking my written exam, oral exam, physical, psychiatric exam. And everything was honky-dory until we got to the eye doctor. Turned out I'm colorblind. And you all know why a colorblind person cannot be a pilot? Because all the dials on the cockpit are color-coded. So in case you went upside down and stuff, well, I couldn't be a pilot. So I had given up hopes of going to college. And someone or other, the second guardian angel that came in my life was a lady that Jesus sees now. She was a high school counselor there in Moody High School. Her name was Maxine Templar. Someone or other, word got to her that I wasn't going to go to college. Well, she wouldn't take that. So I remember one summer day, I'm working at Texas Agriculture, Texas A&M Agriculture Service here there in McGregor, plowing big old John Deere tractor with about, back then we only had 6 rolls. And then I made the round at the other end of the field, and I saw this little old lady hopping up and down the burrs, back then 12, 18-inch burrs, you know. And she finally got close enough, and I saw it was Mrs. Templar. And she hollered at me and goes like this. So I stopped, cut the tractor off. She walked up and says, Felipe, what's this? I hear you're not going to go to college. I said, well, Mrs. Templar, we don't have the money. I got rejected to attend the United States Naval Academy so that, you know, I'm not going to go to college. And he says, nonsense. You were valedictorian of your class and you're going to go to college. And she called Temple Union College and lined up everything for my entrance exam. And then a few days later, she calls me, okay, I'm going to pick you up, Felipe, at such and such time on such and such day, and we're going to go to Temple Union College, and we're going to get you enrolled in college. So Maxine Templar was the second guardian angel in my life. If he hadn't been for her, there's no way I would have attended college. Received my undergraduate degree from Baylor University in 1968. Then I had to find a job after that. I go to the placement office at Baylor University. The placement lady said, oh yeah, here, you can go apply here as an adult probation officer in McLean County. But don't get your hopes too high because McLean County doesn't hire minorities. I'm here to tell you that only gave me more temptation to go over there and file my job application with the adult probation department here in McLean County. And guess what? They were looking for a bilingual probation officer. So once again, God answered my prayers, and I got a job as a probation officer. And that's for 2.5 years, been on the witness stand as a witness on probation revocation cases. And I would see some of the lawyers representing the probationers, and I would look down there and say, my God, how did he find his way to the courthouse? These guys look stupid. I'm there, I'm the witness, and I'm just trying to communicate with him, try to tell him the questions to ask me so I could help his client. Anyway, finally decided if he can be a lawyer, I can be a lawyer. There's one problem. Better Law School doesn't have night classes. So I had to find me a job at night and go to law school during the day. Well, as I told you before, my daddy was a janitor of the McLennan County Courthouse. The county has all the county offices on the first, second, and third floor. Probably a lot of you have never been to the fourth floor. That's where the grand jury meets, or used to meet. Now they have some new quarters somewhere, the DA's office. But anyway, Daddy said there's an opening up on the 10th Court of Appeals as a janitor. So, okay, I'll call him and go over there and see him. He said, no, you're going to be there at 10 tomorrow morning because I already talked to the 3 justices, and they said they'll be eager to interview you. So I got hired as a janitor on the 10th Court of Appeals, which sits on the 4th floor of the McLennan County Courthouse. My job started at 3 in the afternoon until 11 at night, Monday through Friday. My daddy was the janitor down for the first 3 floors of the courthouse. And one of the biggest arguments my daddy and I used to have, Dad, who's going to clean the stairs between the 3rd and the 4th floor? He said, well, Felipe, if we didn't have the 4th floor, we don't need those stairs, so you clean them. While I'm on the topic, let me tell you, I don't care what they tell you at the courthouse, that courthouse is haunted. You don't know how many times I would be, after 11 o'clock, I would cut all the lights off except the lights in the courtroom. And the court has 3 justices. I would sit in the middle where the Chief Justice sits, put my law books out, do my homework and study and stuff. Around 2 or 3 in the morning, I put my books back up, and I started praying and dreaming that someday I want to be a justice on this court. If you've never been to the 10th Court of Appeals, it's a beautiful building, a beautiful courtroom, very ornate. Starting on the left-hand side of the courtroom, there's a portrait of every justice that's ever sat on the 10th Court of Appeals since April the 1st of 1923, when the legislature created the 10th Court of Appeals. And I would sit there after doing my homework, praying and dreaming that someday I want my portrait on that wall. Now here I am, a janitor, no law degree, and I'm already dreaming and praying that I want my portrait. We're almost halfway on the right-hand side. I want my portrait someday there. Finished law school. My job after that was an assistant district attorney, working for the Honorable late Martin Eichenberger. First of all, as a misdemeanor prosecutor, then a felony prosecutor, and then became the first assistant district attorney. And then, unfortunately, the middle of his 4-year term, Martin Eichenberger died of a massive heart attack. About 17 or 18 lawyers applied for the appointment to try to get the appointment from the governor's office. And everybody was telling me, Felipe, even though you're the first assistant DA, there's no sense of wasting your time applying for the appointment, because there's no way that a governor in the state of Texas is going to appoint a minority this far north from San Antonio. Well, after praying and dreaming, I did file my application to receive the appointment, and I did receive the appointment to be the criminal district attorney in McLean County from then Governor Dolph Briscoe. After serving the DA's office, then my wife and I went in private practice together. For 22 years. Well, somewhere in there, Abel, our son Abel, graduated from Baylor Law School. He came to work for us. And this is a story on your district attorney. Paid every 2 weeks. After the first 2 weeks, on a Friday, he gets his paycheck from the bookkeeper. And that evening he comes in and says, "Dad, you have any cash on you?" I said, "Abel, didn't you get your check?" "Yes, Dad. This is to pay my bills, but I need some spending money." Now, since I mentioned the sheriff, Parnell McNamara, let me tell you how the McNamara and Reyna family got very close many years ago. His daddy, old P.T. McNamara, was the bailiff in the federal courthouse here in Waco when my daddy was sworn in as a United States citizen. And after the swearing-in ceremony was over, that bailiff, P.T. McNamara, walks up to my daddy, stuck his hand out there, and said, "Mr. Reyna, welcome to America, sir." And ever since then, the family relationship between the McNamara and Reyna family has been, and this was back in 1967, 68, somewhere there. His father, the bailiff, he's the bailiff, the one that comes out and announces before the judge comes out, "Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye now, the the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Texas now in session," Well, every time he did that, you could hear the windows vibrate. He was a wonderful man. He was the bailiff in federal courtroom. My daddy was the janitor at the courthouse. And they became friends. After being in private practice for 22, 23 years, then God answered one of my prayers that I've been praying since I was a janitor on the 10th Court. And that was when Governor Rick Perry appointed me to the 10th Court of Appeals to be a justice on the very same courtroom that I used to be a janitor. And that's where the name of the book comes from janitor to justice. I'm not here to sell books because I don't make any money off of it. Whatever profit we make, we buy books so I can give away to teachers. But there's 10 of them over there, and those ladies over there can help you. Now, for free, there's a handout I want you to pick up. It's also, this handout is free. It's back over there on the table. It's a book review that the Waco Tribune Herald did. As a matter of fact, it's about the only thing Waco Trib has ever done that's good. I mean, they stay after Parnell and Abel daily, and then the other is the handout that tells you all about the book and my contact information. Well, that's free. We have plenty of them over there. And I'm here to tell you that after I retired on March the 18th, 2011, the 10th Court of Appeals held a special session to unveil the portrait of Felipe Reyna that now hangs on the wall. And you know, I keep hearing about all this roof problem, water leaks and stuff. Every time I run to our county commissioner, Kelly Snell, I say, Kelly Snell, you better fix those leaks. I don't want my portrait ruined. Folks, as I travel throughout the state, invariably people will walk up to me after I make my speech, and they'll ask me, Judge, are you proud to be Hispanic? The first time I was asked that question, I didn't know how to react. You know what? And I'm here to tell you, seguro que sí, es un privilegio para mí que mi primera lengua fue la lengua de mi madre. It is a privilege for me to know that my first tongue was the tongue of my mother. And yes, I'm very proud to be Hispanic, but I'm telling you this evening that I am more proud to be an American. And let me tell you why. Only in America, no other country but America, and through the grace of God, can a little boy go from flunking the first grade to 12 years later graduating in valedictorian high school class. And only in America, no other country but America, and through the grace of God, can a young man go from the hot cotton fields of Moody, Texas, to obtaining a law degree from one of the most prestigious law schools here in America, Baylor Law School in Waco, Texas. And finally, only in America, no other country but America, and through the grace of God, can a young man work himself through Baylor Law School at night as a janitor on the 10th Court of Appeals, and 31 years later, be appointed to be a justice in the same courtroom. God bless all of us. God bless the United States of America, one country under God, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all.